Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting of the Historic Preservation Board to order on Thursday, July 2nd, 2020 at 7:04. I am Joan Belgiorno, the chairperson or chairwoman of the board, and with us tonight in the auditorium is our board members Mike Pignato and Tom Combs. On Zoom, our board members Mira Mijabowski, Don Crum, and Steve Golding. And we have one board member, Glenn Enderby, who couldn't be with us tonight. Our town historian is here, Kathy Knauer, and Jim Costello, the staff person to the Preservation Board for the town of Penfield. So since we're called to order, I thought we'd do the minutes first because of COVID. We haven't met in quite a while, so we're approving minutes from the January 16th, 2020 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to look at those? Okay.
Yes.
Any questions, changes, alterations? Anybody want to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? No? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay. Minutes are approved. Moving on to our next, there are no communications or public participation that I'm aware of tonight. We did not get any emails. The action items are, the first one is 5.1, Samantha Ferris, requesting a certificate of appropriateness for business identification signs at 2086 5 Mile Line Road. Mike Pignato will not be participating in the vote on this because he is the owner of the property. Is Samantha there?
Hi, I'm here.
Hi, Samantha. I don't know, could you hear me? I'm Joan Belgiorno. I'm the chairperson.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I stopped by and looked at what you wanted for your new business.
Oh, good.
Good. So would you like to explain to us? We have some, I don't know where the pictures are on the screen, but we got some in advance of the signs. So it looks like 2 signs, correct?
It would be 2 signs. Essentially, one of them is actually on the inside of the glass facing the road, and it's just an etched decal of my logo, which is an H. It's very simple.
Right.
And then the other would be exactly where the old sign was for Merkley Dental.
Yes.
And pretty much, I think it's the exact same shape, which is a square, and it's 30 by 60 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, again, my logo, and then Haven Hair Salon.
Okay. And it's painted black on white?
So the sign, I think what we decided would be white with black lettering. And this was, I think, from what I have sent, you can see that it's just a white sign, and then everything on it is black. And
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm going to have it raised yet or just painted, but the actual sign on the window would actually be just white, and it would just be a decal basically. So it wouldn't be black, it would be see-through.
Okay.
And then, so it would be just very subtle. And what I would like is to have an eyeball light that shines through the window so that at night we could leave the eyeball light on, but it would be nothing that you could even be distracted from at the road.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Samantha? I guess my question would be, when would you decide whether it's going to be raised? On here it says 3D logo. So
Yes.
we
You
either
get real deep.
we approve it one way, or if there's no objection, I guess we could approve it either way. I don't know how the board feels about that.
It was actually whatever I sent into you is what Bob made for me.
Okay.
Pizzillo of Southpaw Designs. I know he's done a lot of signs in the area.
Yes.
And that will be what it is.
Okay, so that would be raised. I would assume that's what 3D means.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So is everybody in agreement with that?
No issues here.
No issues? Okay. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll move. Move to approve.
Second? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you, everyone.
Oh, you're welcome. When do you hope to open,
luck.
Samantha?
Really excited. Have a good night.
Yep. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Aye.
So, Ms. Chairperson, the second application is regarding Mary Wynn's request to buffer her HVAC systems. This is not a new application. This is a continuation of the application that we
Right.
listened to in January, at our January 16th meeting. And is Mary on?
I am.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Mary. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. A little getting accustomed to what we're doing, but it seems to be working well. Can you hear us okay?
I can't hear Jim very well, but I can hear everyone else great.
Okay, I'll tell him to talk a little louder.
Right into the mic.
Okay. So we're here to finalize some landscaping plans for the air conditioning units in 2 locations, right? On the property. Is that correct?
What two locations are you guys talking about?
The one opposite the garages with the 3 air conditioning units? And,
Yes.
And then the one in front of the apartment addition, the latest addition to the
Yeah,
property.
okay.
So those 2 things, right? So.
Yeah, okay.
And we had discussed this with you before because I noticed in October and November minutes, Jim had noted lattice or something, Jim?
Yep.
So what is it that can you explain to us what you're hoping to put there?
Well, I have 2 different contractors I tried to get to make something out of lattice.
Uh-huh.
And framing, and the outcome feedback was very dismal, is because of the way, not being able to secure it, the plan for longevity. Neither one of them was willing to make it in a way that they could assure is going to last. And I'm looking for something. I don't want to do anything again. And you can tell by what we're doing, we just want to do it once and have it last for 20 years. So the one contractor, because we were standing right next to the fencing at our house, recommended we create a scene like we have in our own backyard where we've got the 6-foot fence and then we put plantings in front of it. You can't even see the fence. But the fence would block the view of the air conditioner in the times that the shrubs would not have leaves on them or would have flowers on them. So at least it would be aesthetically appealing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is what it, I'm gonna flip that back, Jim? Maybe
Can you see
everybody
it?
else can see it and I just can't. So, when they grow, it takes about 3 years for the plants to get to that size. It's very attractive. So we would do that where the White House is and where apartment number 1 is, we would have just a 3-foot piece of fence that would block the view sideways. And it would just look like a piece of fence. So it would be matching.
Comment?
Mary, did you check with your HVAC contractor to see how close the fence can be to the air conditioners? They have
Yes.
to put some air around them.
Right. We For the one next to apartment one, it's going to go at the end, so it won't affect the airflow because remember, the driveway's right up against them. They're on a concrete pad and the driveway goes right to the concrete pad. So it'll just be people driving by are not going to see that that they're in a row there. On the other side, we dug out, and Jim may have taken pictures of how the ground has been dug out, and we've already put it's like tar paper in the ground, deep enough that stone would go on top of that, and then fence would go on the outside of that. So it would be about 4 feet away, 3 to 4 feet away from the air conditioner faces. So they'd be able to get ventilation. Repair person would be able to get back there to do any repairs that they need to do. And then, I don't know, Jim, if you took a picture, how we've got the whole area already dug out with dirt. The whole area is just going to be gardens.
Yeah, I didn't get that far, Mary. All I got were the air conditioning units. I'm sorry.
I was there yesterday, so I understand what you're saying. I guess what you're talking about, though, is the fence would be identical to the fence that divides your property from this house?
Yeah, so it's right next door. It doesn't give, it's sometimes less is more. It's just less distracting, less busyness. You've got the White House, you've got the red brick, and you've got the stone-looking fence. So if you just kind of stay with those three things, and then have the more being the shrubs and the plantings, so that, it's going to be very attractive.
I guess my question would be, if we had already talked about that fence a while ago, a year ago, I don't remember exactly when. And there is nothing wrong with the fence. I mean, it looks very nice on your property. It just doesn't seem to go with this property.
Well, the smokehouse that's in the back of the building is made out of cobblestone, and the fence looks like cobblestone, and it's going to be behind shrubs. It's certainly more in keeping with the time than plastic lattice.
I don't disagree with that. I'm trying to think of some other ideas. For example, on the small apartment addition, on the 2 units there, isn't there enough space just to have shrubbery there in front of it? I mean, do we need to put up a solid piece of fencing?
Well, I feel that it would give us something for the shrubbery to go against, and it would be easier to maintain. I personally don't like the way the air conditioning units look at all, and I feel like it would disguise them. So it would look more, to me, it would look more natural than those ugly air conditioning units. I mean, they're so ugly. And they're always going to be there, as in the winter, if the plants lose their leaves, it's just going to be to me, it's so ugly.
Well,
I would
I mean,
try to make it
obviously,
look
you'd have
more
to
attractive.
pick something that didn't lose its leaves. But other comments? What do other people think?
If I could just say that the woman behind us, Catherine, where we put the berm, was
Yes.
very distressed and asked why we didn't just continue the fence on the whole property when we were trying to figure out what to put on the berm. She thought the fence that we have on our property was very attractive. So I don't know, they didn't have asphalt driveways in the 1850s. There's a lot of things they didn't have that are improvements, and
Well, I mean, you need air conditioning. That's.
it's clean
Yeah.
looking.
I get, the fence on your property is very nice, and it goes well with the greenhouse. But I think with the brick house, I guess I'm a little confused. We're on the white side right now, the picture Jim just put up.
Yes.
Where would the fence go there?
It would be blocking the air conditioning units only. And then
Okay.
front,
If I'm on the road, what am I seeing?
you would see,
Is the fence going to be facing the road?
it would be flat. So Jim,
Okay.
can you put the scene up, what it looks like in our backyard again?
Well, right here is, I tried to blow this up so you could see this fence here. See if I can do a better job for you.
Don, do you
Yeah.
have from the email?
I can't find that picture. I'm
All
going
right.
back and forth. I have the other side.
Right, but this, you can see a piece of the fence here runs
Oh, I'm sorry. I know what you mean, Mary. I'm sorry.
front to
Let me-
back on
yeah, let
her
me get-
property. And
let me
it
get
would be a
that.
piece of that fence,
That gray fence?
It's beige.
beige, yeah.
Here it
The
is.
one that's the fake rock?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
I don't think that should be on this property at all anyway.
Right, well, that's what I
don't-
thinking that, but,
I don't think so. I mean, it's very nice for the modern house. I just like what you're doing on the other, yeah, I don't know. Mira, what do you think? I think that
Well,
detracts.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I think a much cheaper alternative would look a lot nicer. There'd be a piece of white, picket fence with the plantings around it, or, something.
even on the smaller one, on the one that's closest to your house, two miniature evergreens that don't get taller than the bushes, that don't get taller than the air conditioning units.
Yeah, I think that's kind of an expensive fix that doesn't accomplish, I think it's too much for the house.
I'm not so sure with the other one what to do because the asphalt goes right up to the one that's directly opposite the garages.
Driveway?
Yeah, on the driveway. I'm not sure what you could,
I thought what she was suggesting there was just a short fence on the right side there, coming out by the gutter, or the downspout,
okay.
just covering the front of it, not covering the
But-
whole of the,
That would be the same, you're proposing that as the same fence that you have now running down your property, coming out there.
Not in front of them, just at the end, just a small.
By the
Yeah.
downspout, right. But
Right.
again, I don't know, there's no room there for just a little tree or bush or,
There's no place to put a bush in asphalt.
well, I
A bush
know,
will not
but
live in asphalt.
I know that, but I'm just saying that does the asphalt have to go right up to there? I don't.
Yes. Yes, it does. It's all based with the asphalt. It's got 12 inches of base in it already.
Okay, so what's the fence gonna be attached to?
It was going to be attached to posts. It was being cut. There'll be a post right along the house, and there'd be a post at the end of it. It would be about 3 feet wide.
So it'll just look like it's attached to the house, but doesn't have to be.
Right,
It would be a post, and then fence, and then a post.
Yeah, it's funny because I know everybody you wouldn't rent them out if you didn't have air conditioning, it'd be impossible. But when you go by there, everything else looks so amazing. So I can appreciate that you have to have something in front of there.
right.
Appreciate the need for that because the garage gets been with that house forever. I mean, you really did a phenomenal job with
Right.
that. Everything else on the house looks so authentic. I don't think if people drove by, they would know how much to recreate it. So if you can hide, I'm all in favor of hiding the ones on the driveway with that little fence. I mean, it does, if you're walking down the driveway, you're gonna see the air conditioner. But from the road, you can hide it. I think that's a great move.
What kind
Well,
of
I was
fence?
going to cut a big piece and use the other part by the other air conditioners, but if you don't like it, for the other.
It's gonna be, but am I misunderstanding? The one by the air conditioners on the asphalt, that's gonna be the white, right?
No, it was gonna be the same kind of fence. Because
Oh, no.
5-year warranty.
Mary,
Yeah,
do they
no.
make a fence that's similar to your stone one that looks like red brick? That would look like it's part of the house
Right.
almost.
That's a,
Well, we would have to get them to do that. Maybe we can contact Certainty and see if they'd like to do it for me.
If you did that,
Kathy?
if you
They
did
don't
that
make it.
by the driveway and then do a white one over by the white part, then it would sort of all blend in.
They don't make it.
Kathy, would it really work on an old house to have the brick wall there? It's really like a brick house has either, traditionally, a brick house either has black, like a wrought iron or aluminum type, or it has a picket fence or a white slat
right,
fence. or
that
something
house
there.
would have had a wrought iron fence, right, Kathy?
Probably.
A black wrought
Well, but
iron,
wrought
which
iron
isn't
won't
gonna
work
help
for her
here.
needs.
Right, that's
It
not gonna
seems like
work.
wrought iron won't work because then she doesn't get the screening effect.
Right, right, no, I agree, but
I just don't. I think it's gonna make, I think it's really junky with that many different materials there, and it looks so classy now. It really, I mean, when you drive
it
down
does
that
look
street,
excellent, it looks
that
great.
house stands out right now as being very classy looking.
Mira, any materials for there that are white, that are very durable?
No, I mean, white picket fence. I don't know of any fencing that would be white and not last forever and not need maintenance. Oh, by the way, how about something like tracks fencing or uh, different type of fiber cement or AZAC fencing?
Right, I was thinking of like the
Something
fiberboard.
like you would put around your deck.
It has to be in a frame, and I got very negative feedback about that concept of trying to frame something that would not show all of the pressure-treated wood on the back of it and the side. I mean, it was very negative feedback from people like, what are you trying to do here? Why don't you just put a fence panel up? You're not even gonna see it, it's gonna be very attractive. So I'm just telling you what other people said. People who do this kind of work.
Okay, so what about simple white fence panel?
Well,
I think a white fence panel would disappear more than anything else that you would put there. Any other color, or, I mean, it's complete, that area is totally white. And from my perspective, if you want to plant something in front of it, that would be fine too. I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but,
Yeah.
the other one is a little more problematic, but,
One thing I was thinking of, it just came to me is, because I'm looking at doing something with a gazebo I have, they've got some paneling at Home Depot that you can cut, it's 4x8.
Louder.
And you can cut that to whatever size you want it to be. And I'm thinking more about the front of the house, the east side of the house now, not the front. But
Okay.
you could take that panel and cut it to 3 feet if you wanted to. It's a 4-foot panel now, 4x8, but you can cut it to any size you want. They have a system that you can slide in place with support on both sides. That might be something to look at as an option.
what's the material of
It's a plastic. It's a PVC plastic, so it'll last a while. It's the crisscross type where you got the little diamonds, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Did you see that they had posts to put in the ground, Jim, where you could channel it in like you can with the Simtek fence, which would withstand any kind of hit to it or anything like that?
I'm not quite sure, Mary, and I wouldn't want to say
Yeah.
that I did, but
Yeah.
it might be
Well,
something to look at, and it's fairly
I did
inexpensive.
a lot of research on it, and
Did we look at any other buildings like this for fencing? I mean, I did at the time we were talking about the other fences, but, which is why I'm saying it would normally be wrought iron. But in a compromise, there must be properties with the same issue that have been restored.
I think they don't do anything. I think they just let the air conditioning unit
Okay.
show. I don't know.
Well, most air conditioning units are usually in the back of the house.
Right,
So
right.
that's why they get away from this problem. But
And you
with an
do have to
apartment
keep 'em a
complex, With
certain-
an apartment building, or you really can't do that.
Right. Jim, is there an urgency to this as far as the town's concerned?
Well, I think Mary would like to get it resolved.
No, I
It's
know
the
from
last
her
item.
perspective, and I would like to see her get it resolved, but I'm just saying there's no one's coming to inspect it.
Oh,
or
no, I think
you
it's a
know.
matter of, working out the details so that everybody's happy. One last thing, though, Mary, back in the early part of this, when we talked about converting that white area over with the window versus the door, you were going to put some type of lattice work below the area that's kind of open right now. You took the staircase away, and it's just going to be closed off. Are you still looking at lattice for that site, or are you going to do something else, or just leave it?
I'm still gonna do something there.
Okay.
Yet I have to find someone to do the something. I'm having a hard time finding people to do the somethings for me.
Okay.
I honestly, off the top of my head, I cannot come up with the perfect solution. I mean, this whole delay which is beyond all our control, we're sort of just getting back on board here. I guess what I hear is most of us are thinking it should be something different than the fence that's on the property next door, which means that we would either table this and all try to come up with some alternatives, and if we can't find anything else, then we can come back to we'll have options to look at.
Yeah, if you can come up with an alternative and also someone to create the alternative, because I thought I had a really good idea and it wasn't a very good idea. So I think that's the important thing is sometimes an idea can't be done. My plan is, my husband's 72 years old. I do not want any maintenance. Like, I don't want to have to be doing stuff. I want it to be maintenance free. So that's important to me because some things are very labor intensive or maintenance intensive and they don't last very long. And then I don't want to looking shoddy in 6 or 7 years.
No, we completely understand that. Mike was just saying to me, he was wondering if something could just be custom built for the front of that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Mike was saying to me that he wondered if something could be custom built for these, where the two units are, that would be very stable and maybe you could put like a planter box on or something. I don't know.
Well, we can't put a planter box on it because the person enters their apartment right there and you wouldn't want the weight on it. But I was talking to people about doing custom and they're the ones that said, put fence up. Like, what are you doing here? Like, you want it to be maintenance free. You don't want to have a lot of responsibilities for it. You're going to put plants in front of it anyway. Nobody's going to see it. Why don't you just put a fence panel up? So I'm just telling you what two different contractors.
I understand, but the contractors, were they contractors who specialize in preservation or were they just fence contractors?
No, of course not. Of
Right.
course not. There
So-
aren't a lot of contractors who.
Right, but there are some. So I would suggest, I don't mind looking around a little bit if you are willing to also check anything else out you can think of. And Jim, I'm sure you can get pictures to us.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the
computer.
things I'd like to do, and it's going to come up later in the agenda, but it might be germane at this point in time to talk about, is the fact that the next meeting was going to be scheduled for August 6th. We're having a problem with the staff in terms of being able to do the video work here for that evening. They're kind of stressed out with other things they're doing. I would make a recommendation that maybe we'd do this still within the month of July. That way, it'll give Mary a chance to look at some things and not get it dragged out too long.
I'm not going to be able to look at things in July. I am so busy, and
Well, if you can hold off, it's okay with the board and with the
I mean,
staff.
I could wait a year and maybe I'll have time next year. I am so busy right now. I'm really, really busy. I'm working till sometimes 11 o'clock at night, and to get people to come out, and I'll just plant bushes there and see how it looks. I want to start my garden. I don't want to keep waiting.
That might be a good way to start it. And then
Right.
if you want, we could look for you and look at some ideas that might fit that area. And if you're amenable to them, we can talk to the board about it at a later date.
Right. What's the length of time you can table something, Jim?
Oh, indefinitely if you want. I mean, as I say, there's no pressure on you from our perspective to do that. It's just a matter of when you can and want to do it. We can come back to the board with the answer that you're comfortable with. It's up
I
to
mean,
you.
for that piece there, for the two small units, maybe the answer is a good landscaper. And ask him or her what can be done. I mean, obviously, I understand what you need to do on the other part needs to go into the ground on the east
What-
side.
What if I just put stockade fence in? That can be cut easily. It would be on posts. And we can spray it like crazy with the really heavy-duty Sherwin-Williams paint. Or we can stain it white.
Is that going to be maintenance free enough for you?
No, I don't think so, but I don't,
Yeah, I'd rather if you can just do plantings, I'd rather you wait than spend money and get something that you don't like. I'm looking at this Weatherables collection right now. Weatherables Clearwater, it's not the right height. But I would hate to see you spend money and time if you could just put some shrubs up there for the time being and make you rush into something. I don't know. It's
Right. And the other
you
one,
know.
the other side of the building isn't quite as apparent to drive by, to the whole ambiance of the house. So if you want, try some shrubbery there, and I'll be happy to look around and see if we can find an alternative for a piece of fence that's more in keeping. I mean, I can I can go to the archives at the national organization and see there must be something. And
yeah,
then,
they didn't have this problem, they didn't have to hide things.
well, no, but
Yeah.
houses that have been redone have had to hide things because they air condition them. So there must be some place that has some fencing.
I wonder if I could ask you, if I had wanted to do window air conditioning units, how would you have responded to that?
Yeah, it would be okay, I think. I mean, I don't know, why are you asking? You want to take those units out?
Because I
I
have a
think-
Go ahead.
tenant who's a holdover, who will not leave and will not pay rent, who has put window air conditioning units in, and I could say he has to take them out.
I like what you did, to be honest with you. Even
Right.
though we're having this issue right now, I think what you did make such a classy building.
Right. I don't think you don't want a window air conditioner in every window.
But can you tell me that I can't have them? Would you be able to do that?
No, we can't go backwards. you would have to ask us if it's, we've already
but-
approved.
Someone has put them in the windows and won't take them out. And
Okay, but I guess then whatever your tenant resolution, however the town resolves a tenant resolution problem, I don't know what, it's not what, I don't think the town is against window air conditioning.
There are other historic buildings in the town of Penfield that have air conditioning units in them.
Right.
I do understand your situation, Mary, and I do empathize, but it's a situation where the board, any board here is not going to prevent a life safety issue to provide for air conditioning for any tenant. So it's a situation where we really couldn't say no if you came in and asked for them. We wouldn't even consider saying no. I think Don's right. I mean, what you did is great.
Right.
And it's probably the best way to go for that building, but it would, if you had asked for them, we probably would have had to have said, yeah, go ahead and do it.
Is this person's apartment not air conditioned?
yeah, well, we can go into this.
Yeah, this is
Probably
not-
don't want.
No, I'm just wondering if he's using double air conditioning.
Air conditioning is not a
Yeah.
requirement, and his unit broke, and it was problematic, so the building inspector suggested we remove it.
Okay. Well, I guess we can't, at this point, that would not be
Yeah.
something that we could do.
Right.
I would be
Joan?
willing to call Landmark Society
Right.
and see if anybody there has any suggestions for fencing.
Yeah, Cynthia may have.
Joan, when you're
Yes.
looking at decorative fencing,
Yes,
there's a company called Suncast, and they have low fences. I can't find one right now that's totally not see-through, but I'm looking through them, and they seem to have something that might work and not expensive.
okay, Suncan, all one word?
Suncast,
Cast, okay,
C-A-S-T.
okay. All right, Kathy, if you want to talk to Landmark, and I'll look around at some more contemporary things.
Oh, they're from Wayfair. Yeah, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, start with the plantings and, and then we can talk again in the fall when we're back. If you're here and we don't have a deadline, it's not like somebody's coming to,
Well, if you remember, the board did not require that as a condition
Right.
of approval. This was just something we talked about, and Mary brought it up as an idea, which we think is we're supportive of as a group, but there's not pressure on Mary to do this if she doesn't want to.
right. And I really would hate to see, after all the wonderful work you've done, see something there that's not in sync with the building.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Because this house right now, I think, is like one that would be on like, of historical houses.
Right.
I mean,
And-
it's like equivalent to what you see in Cornhill and.
Right.
That's-
We can't wait to
I
see
think
it.
you do a good job. I just didn't expect it would turn out this great.
Thank you.
If you decide to do a tour, let us know.
Yeah, I have no vacancies. Everybody,
Right.
all the units are rented.
Oh, that's
Wow, that's
fantastic,
great.
though.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I mean, they're
really-
all rented through like October, November, and I have people now asking about that time.
Good. That's really good.
Yeah.
All right, so we need a motion to table. Second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And then you're gonna go ahead with plantings, right?
Yep.
Is everybody, that's okay with everybody?
That's okay.
Okay.
Do that,
Yes.
Okay.
right? May find the plantings work out pretty good just with themselves.
Yeah. All right. So we're good?
Yes. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you very much, Mary.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Okay, we do not have informational items, held items, other business, old business, new business. And are we having an executive session?
We are not.
Okay. So the next meeting is scheduled for August 6th, but Dave, that's his name, right? Rennert, cannot be here. He's on vacation.
They're being stressed out because they're doing other things, not only just for this community, but they're working with other towns too right now, trying to get them online. So
Right.
my suggestion would be that if we could postpone that even to the 13th, if we have any applications coming in. If not, then I would suggest that we would cancel that meeting until.
Okay, and I would like to take a roll call of, I am not available on the 13th. That's the only week, unless COVID gets worse and we don't take our week in New Jersey. That's the 1 week all summer I would not be here that week, which we scheduled for after the
Right.
Preservation Board meeting.
Because you assume we would have a meeting on the 6th.
Right, before the zoning board meeting.
Yes.
So, so I don't know, is anybody else, who else would be available on the 13th? Are people here?
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
As of right now, I would.
Okay.
Open availability all summer.
Okay,
Very
and I
good.
would only be going, to my daughter's, but that's what we had planned.
That would
so-
be great. And as I say, if I don't receive any applications, then we would not have that meeting.
Right.
Okay?
So are we adjourning?
Move to adjourn.
Yeah,
I moved.
Where's Mike?
Mike's there. He moved.
moving
To
to
adjourn.
adjourn.
I'll
Second,
my own move.
second, somebody want a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for helping to get this set up. I think it went pretty well.